Hi and welcome along to AFTV. Time to preview the game. Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Arsenal. Haven't played Wolves for many a year at Molineux, so I'm really looking forward to it. However, it's a huge game. I cannot state how big it is. I mean, basically, you got 4 teams going for 2 spots at the moment. 4 bottle jobs, I called it, going for 2 places. We all bottled it at the weekend. Tottenham got beaten by Man City. Man United destroyed by Everton 4-0. And then us, with a big chance to take advantage of it, losing 3-2 at home to Crystal Palace. A real shock defeat. And then Chelsea, you could have took advantage on Monday night, only getting a draw against Burnley. Now, Chelsea have played 1 more game than us and only got 1 more point. That means if we beat Wolverhampton Wanderers, we move 2 points ahead of them again. If we draw, we still move ahead of them, I think, on goal difference. But this is a real opportunity. I don't think we're going to get 3rd place now. I'm looking at Tottenham's fixtures. Looks like Tottenham will probably get that 3rd place. But when you look at the other teams battling it out for that 4th spot, you've got to say Arsenal, when you look at the games coming up, I've got the best opportunity. Wolves away, Leicester away, Burnley away, Brighton at home. Those are the teams. However, let's not be fooled. Wolverhampton Wanderers is going to be a really tough game. They've got a fantastic record this season against the top 6 teams. They seem to falter when they play the lesser teams, but against the top 6 teams, they play really well. They're a very good counter-attacking team, just like Crystal Palace were, and we all saw what happened in that game. And they've taken big scalps this season, you know what I mean? They beat Manchester United only a couple of weeks ago at Molineux. They beat them in the FA Cup there as well, you know what I mean? They beat Chelsea. They won't be scared of Arsenal. They even, to be fair to them, gave us a really good game when they played us at the Emirates. It was a draw. And on another day, they could have won that game as well. So it's going to be a really tough game. And Arsenal, listen, we're coming off the back of a really damaging, poor defeat. You know, going into that Crystal Palace game, we were all on a high, you know what I mean? We qualified for the semi-finals of the Europa League. We beat Napoli over 2 legs, didn't concede a goal. We was all thinking to ourselves, yeah, it's all looking rosy, man. Beat Crystal Palace, we're looking good. And then what happened? We just crashed. And really and truly, you've got to look at the team on that day. The team was just not up to scratch. Jenkinson came in at right back. I'm sorry, just didn't deliver. I'm not sure if he's, you know, the top quality player that we need there in the right back position. Mustafi had an absolute nightmare in the game. I know he's been made a bit of a scapegoat after the game, but he had a horror show. You know, El Neni came in, did what he does. He passes it sideways. He's very safe, tidy player, but he doesn't create anything. And basically, it was a really poor performance by Arsenal, particularly defensively, especially when you consider it that recently we've been defending really well. Now, the key to getting a result against Wolves is we need a stronger lineup. And it was really interesting that Unai Emery was asked in his press conference about injuries, asked about who's coming in, and he was very coy on it. He didn't really want to let on about what the team selection might be. But I know one thing for sure. If we go up there and the team selection is anything like what we had on Sunday, we will get beat. We cannot play Jenkinson, El Nenis, people like that against Wolves. They will take us to pieces. They're very strong in particular in that midfield area. They got top quality players, Martinho, Jota, you know, Jimenez up front. They're a top quality team. So we've got to try and go there with our strongest team. Now, one of the good things is Socrates will be back. And we saw the defence. It looked very weak without Socrates in there. Look, 2 set pieces in the game we got done by. And as I said, we haven't been getting done by those things recently. So it's great that Socrates will be back. I'm hoping that Torreira will start the game. We don't know about Xhaka yet, if Xhaka will be fit. He failed a late fitness test in the game against Crystal Palace, and boy, did we miss him. But if we could get Xhaka back alongside Torreira, or Torreira next to Guendouzi. I do think Guendouzi is a good player, but he needs somebody solid next to him. I think that would help us a lot. Ainsley Maitland-Niles has got to come in at right back. As I said, Carl Jenkinson just wasn't up to scratch. And Mavropanos, he's only played a couple of games for Arsenal, and it showed the other day. It really did show. As I said, Socrates should return. So we've got to go for our strongest possible lineup in that game. I mean, those players that were rested, they've had their rest now. Bring them back in. I'm kind of torn on whether we go with that back three or a back four in that game. I'd love to see Lacazette and Aubameyang both start that game because we've got to score goals. We've got to score goals in that game because Wolves, they're a solid team and they invariably they do score goals, particularly against the top 6 teams. So we need goals in that game, and I want to see Aubameyang and Lacazette in it from the start. There's no Ramsey, of course, so I'd expect Ozil to come in just behind him as well. He scored the other day, so his confidence should be high with that. And then you've got the options. Iwobi, Mkhitaryan, maybe say Iwobi, who came on, did okay when he came on, should have scored, but he did okay. Do you go Kolasinac as well, sort of, in that wing-back position when, say, a Maitland-Niles and 3 at the back? I don't know, but all I know is we've got to go with our absolute strongest team. And I'm looking at the league at the moment and I'm thinking to myself, the 2 games coming up, I honestly think if Arsenal were to win the next 2 games, I think we'll get the top 4. I think if we can beat Wolves and Leicester, it's a very, very tall ask because both teams have been playing well at home and both teams have hit a bit of form and both teams are going to be really difficult to beat. But if we turn up, show our mettle, show that this is the reason why we should be in the top 4 because we can beat these teams away from home and beat those 2, I think we get the top 4 because be then followed by Brighton. At home, I know with the Palace thing, we fought, but I think we'll beat Brighton at home. And in the final game of the season against Burnley, Burnley are safe now. They're not going to go down. So I don't think they'd be, I'm not to say they won't play with the intensity, but they won't be like going for it like they did against Chelsea where, they literally played that like a cup final because they knew the significance of getting, at least a point in that game. So big opportunity for Arsenal. I don't want us to be relying on getting into the Champions League through the Europa League. That is dangerous to do. It's a cup competition. Anything can happen. We're up against Valencia. Valencia are on a bit of form at the moment as well over there in La Liga. So that's going to be a tough game over 2 legs. Probably tougher than playing Napoli. Let's have that right. So, and then in the final, you could get a Chelsea, even Eintracht Frankfurt been playing well. Anything can happen. It's a cup competition. Shocks happen in cups all the time. The way to get into that top 4, the way to get into that Champions League is to get in there first and foremost through the league. It's doable. There's teams ahead of us that we can beat, but this is where we show whether we deserve to be in that top 4 or not. All the teams vying for those places right now, this is their chance to show, do you deserve to be there? And that's what I want to see from Arsenal. It's going to need leaders on the pitch. It's going to need great performances from some of our big players. It's going to need us to defend properly, but Socrates and Koscielny, I'm sure, will do better than what we saw the other day. We're going to need Aubameyang and Lacazette. We're going to have to call on them again. We've been calling on them all season. And we're going to need Ozil to step up in a game. But if we do, we can beat Wolves. It won't be easy. They're a top quality team, but we can beat them. And I'm looking forward to the game. Just before I go, let me just give you my starting lineup for the game. This is the lineup that I think we should go for in the game. Leno, and I'm going to go with the back 3. Mustafi. Listen, we got to put him in there. I would put him in there ahead of Mavropanos, even though he made that mistake. Surely he'll redeem himself. But Mustafi, Socrates and Koscielny. And then 2 wing-backs of Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac. Xhaka, if he's fit, and Torreira. And then a front 3 there, Ozil, Aubameyang and Lacazette. That team is strong enough to win that game. That team can go toe-to-toe with Wolves for definite and win it. And hopefully, if that team plays to its ability, we will get the 3 points. And it's vital if we're going to get into that top 4.